Hey, I'm Big Jeff from Big Jeff Online. I started all this out of the trunk of my car in Miami, Florida, selling security cameras and other things, and it grew into car audio, which has always been my passion. Always been my passion. Get bigger and bigger and bigger. Hey, it's Big Jeff coming to you once again with some unboxing. We're here again with some Black Diamond audio product. This is the DIA-1550.1. As you can see here, maybe I got, it is around October here, so whenever you're watching this video, we got some trick-or-treating going on. We have our Black Diamond giveaways. Let's get right into this. Black Diamond, incredible brand, doing real well with it. Very good priced product, good quality. Our return rate is very small. So when people ask me, hey Big Jeff, what's best? What brand is best? Is this good? It's hard to explain it because it's a personal opinion. But how I answer those questions on our end in the e-commerce and distribution world is returns. And when we don't have product being returned, that tells me it is tough and people are happy with it. So let's get into this unboxing. We'll open her up. You can see you get your manual, and keep in mind these manuals are printed for multiple amplifiers, so when you go through it, make sure you're looking at the specs for the right amplifier. Next thing I want you to notice, which is great, especially in the shipping world, you can see how this is packaged up. So even if this thing was dropped, it's going to take the abuse getting there. Here we go with a bass knob. So some of the amps did have a plastic bass knob. I've heard some reviews, people unhappy with that. This one here is metal, and also here is a clipping monitor on the bass knob. So obviously, Black Diamond, Big Jeff, we hear your comments, and that was one of them. So nice, small, you can pretty much mount it anywhere. It's going to use a telephone type cord. Keep in mind on a lot of bass knobs and wires, you have to use the correct one. We get it all the time. People order one from a Massive Audio or something else and it doesn't work. It's because it's all about resistance. It can also actually injure or damage your amplifier. But here you get that. I'm gonna put that off to the side. In there is a pretty decently long cord. I know that sounded kind of weird, but it should be able to make it from the back to the front. And as you can see here, it's just regular telephone style cord. Keep in mind, please use this cord. I don't think you're gonna have a problem if you replace this. The cord's not the issue, it's the bass knob. These do match up with the amplifier, so don't think you can just plug in one from another brand unless it's a universal style and it's using RCAs, okay? Then we'll go ahead and pull this amp out. Now, first thing I want you to notice, I have big hands, and this amp is small in size. So we're here to give you some screws. Let's go ahead and put this to the side. So the size of the amp, I mean, you can basically mount this anywhere. If it's a truck, if it's a car, under the seat, on a wall, you can stack them together. I love the size. Let's go ahead and open this up. There we go. That took a little bit. That was some super tape. Okay, so first thing we notice on the amplifier, besides the size, you have nice black, I would say almost matte finish. You do have the Black Diamond logo, and I like it because it just doesn't take away from your system, but you can notice it if you're going to light this up with some LED or what have you. Then we're going to notice here we have fusing, and it looks like my eyes are getting bad, and these are clear, and it looks like 30 amp fuses, 2 of them. Pop that back in. This is a mono block, so you have a positive and negative output, and I'm going to say that is 4 gauge. There is a power light and you're gonna have your ground, your power, and your remote turn on. We're gonna flip this over. Cool right here. So you got your remote input. It does have a bass boost, a subsonic, and your low pass filter, which shows on here from 50 hertz to 250 hertz. And you are able to go to 0 180 on the phase. And then you have your gain control. Here's an insight I always say: if you have to go past 3/4, you don't have enough power, or you might be at the wrong ohm. Never ever want to max out a gain on an amplifier. All you're doing is putting distortion at that point. So I like in my own vehicles not to go past halfway, so I need to supply enough power to do that. Also, the other thing that could affect it is the RCA, the voltage. That basically tells the amp how to turn up. Think of it like a gas pedal. If you have a high voltage, you don't have to turn the volume up as high to get to that level. If you have low voltage, obviously you need to turn up. So make sure you are using, either if you have a new head unit, it has at least 4-volt output. If you're using a high to low adapter, spend the extra couple bucks, get like an audio control that actually will increase that voltage and clean it up for you. Basically the cheap high to low adapters, when we sell tons of them, you can do the same thing by cutting an RCA and doing it that way. That's all they do unless it has some type of gain control. So we're gonna put this down. I just want to go quick over the specs here. As I said, the manual is a manual for a few of the amplifiers. Let's go ahead and pull that out. And when you open it up, first thing you want to do is go to the correct amplifier. As you can see here, we have the 1150.2, 1250.4, 1850.4. Obviously, that's not this amplifier. When you go down here to the mono blocks, how do you know that? There's a 0.1, and then some of them even say D. This is the 1500.1. So it is a mono block, but this is not a class D. That is why it doesn't have the D at the end. If you look at the manual, it is a AB mono block. So mono block meaning one block for your power and ground to your speakers. Some amps have two. That doesn't mean it's a left and right. It still means they are mono together internally. This one has one. It is an AB amplifier. So let's look at the ratings here. This is saying RMS output at 2 ohms is 350 watts. So when you go to 4 ohms, you lose some at 220 watts. Always pay attention to the RMS ratings. I never pay attention to peaks. Peaks are on the best day possible with 1,000 volts, or and we know everything runs on 12 volts. You might be able to get 13 out of your vehicle, and if you have upgraded from there, you might be able to get more. So always worry about the RMS rating. Let's go down here. I like this. We have a signal to noise ratio at 4 ohm is 90 dB. The gain range is 0.2 to 5 volts. That's what we were talking about earlier, about how much voltage you're running through your low pass input. So they're recommending no lower than 0.2. We can go up to 6. So if you have a good aftermarket radio, that's 4 or 5 volts, great. If you're using a high to low adapter, make sure you check that. And then the crossover range, we talked about that at 50 for your low, which is low. Most people are not going to set their sub amplifier that low. The average is usually around 80. Some people go a little bit higher if they want a little more of that upper sub bass, but we're gonna do this, and I would recommend doing this at about 80 hertz. And then if you look here, the frequency range 20 to 500 hertz. Dimensions, now this is what we were talking about. Let me see if they convert this over for you. Okay, great. So last thing I want to talk about is dimensions. I keep talking about the size. Really cool. So this is only about 13.8 inches long, and that's from screw hole to screw hole. The width is only 5.5, and then the height is an amazing 1.9. It's not even 2 inches. This is a awesome size amp. Yeah, it's not the biggest of power, but if you're running, you know, some inexpensive subwoofers, remember we can 4 ohm or 2 ohm. You can do a dual forearm on this, or you can do 2 single forearms. Pretty much you can go either way. And for the size, to get that, and I would call it clean power, this is a great product. Hey, if you want to get this, you can go to blackdiamondaudio.us and you can purchase this. Always going to get some kind of freebie with it with every order. This is Big Jeff signing off.